Right now, in this very moment, somewhere out there in the world, a person who is less talented than you, less intelligent than you, less prepared than you, is winning. And here's the part that stings. They're not winning because they deserve it, not because they've worked harder, not because they're stronger, not because they're better. They're winning because they look certain. They walk into a room and everyone feels it, like gravity shifting. Their presence demands attention before they even open their mouth. They speak without hesitation, without second-guessing, without apologizing for their existence. They make eye contact like they already know the outcome. They move like the world itself was designed to bend to their will. And here's the brutal truth. The world believes them, not because they are right, but because they seem right. The world doesn't reward the most gifted, it rewards the most certain. Meanwhile, you hesitate, you stall, you run every possibility in your head until the moment passes. You wait for the perfect timing, the perfect words, the perfect state of readiness. But that perfect moment never arrives. And while you wait, while you hesitate, someone else, someone with half your skill, half your intelligence, half your ability, steps forward with boldness. They claim what could have been yours. That is the silent tragedy of hesitation. It doesn't just stop you, it hands your future, your opportunities, your power, directly into the hands of someone else. Confidence is not just a personality trait. It is not some soft, optional quality you can decide to work on when life feels safe or convenient. It is not something extra. It is not decoration. Confidence is a weapon. It is steel sharpened to cut through hesitation, through doubt, through opposition. And just like any weapon, if you do not know how to wield it, rest assured, someone else will, and they will wield it against you. Because in this world, hesitation is not just a pause, it is weakness. And weakness, always and without exception, is exploited. The timid man becomes the pawn, the agreeable man becomes the tool, the uncertain man becomes the stepping stone for someone else's ambition. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He dissected the nature of men, of rulers, of generals, of kings. He watched carefully and came to a single, undeniable truth. Boldness outruns brilliance. Every time. History itself confirms this. The daring man, the one willing to act with audacity, even recklessness, will often seize what the cautious genius never dares to reach for. Those who dare, even without mastery, even without perfect preparation, often win. But those who hesitate, no matter how gifted, no matter how intelligent, no matter how full of potential, they fall behind, they stall, they are forgotten. The lesson is brutal, but it is also liberating. Power does not belong to the best. It does not belong to the smartest. It does not belong to the most prepared. Power belongs to the most certain, to the one who speaks first, to the one who steps forward, to the one who looks the world in the eye and declares, "This is mine." This is not a motivational video. If you came here looking for comfort, you are in the wrong place. If you came here expecting me to inspire you with gentle words and false encouragement, you are wasting your time. I'm not here to pat you on the back. I'm not here to tell you everything will be okay. I'm not here to whisper sweet lies that make you feel good for a few minutes before you go right back to being the same hesitant, obedient version of yourself. I am here for one reason only: to break something inside of you, to shatter the hesitation that has ruled your life, to destroy the obedience that has kept you small, to kill the quiet desperation that you've been calling normal. This is not inspiration. This is not motivation. This is instruction. This is control. This is the demolition of weakness and the construction of a different identity, one that the world cannot bend. And here's the truth. If you pay attention, if you actually listen and do not just consume this like another piece of content, if you take what you hear and carve it into your behavior, then weakness will no longer survive inside you. It won't simply be hidden. It won't simply be suppressed. It will be erased completely, burned out of you until nothing remains but certainty, presence, and control. Here's the truth you've been avoiding, the truth you've buried under excuses and distractions. You weren't born timid. You weren't born apologizing for existing. You weren't born second-guessing every move, every word, every thought. No, life did that to you. You were trained into it, conditioned slowly, day by day, year by year, shaped by repetition, molded by invisible hands you never even noticed. You were rewarded when you complied, scolded when you resisted, punished when you dared to stand tall. Every "be nice," every "don't make a scene," every "sit still and wait your turn," every "keep your head down." That wasn't just advice, it was training, programming, a carefully constructed script designed to sculpt you into something smaller than what you really are. And it worked. That training turned you into someone who obeys without question, someone who seeks approval before action, someone who asks for permission to breathe, to speak, to exist. Someone who constantly wonders, is this okay? Am I allowed? But here's the harsh truth. What that training created isn't a man. It isn't even a whole human being. It's a servant, a conditioned pleaser, a submissive shadow, a version of you that flinches at judgment, lowers its head at authority, and silently begs for acceptance from the very people who don't deserve your submission. That voice in your head, the one that hesitates before every decision, that second guesses before every word, that apologizes before you've even done anything wrong. That voice is not you. That voice is the servant, the weak construct society forced into your mind. And unless you kill him, completely, ruthlessly, without hesitation, you will never taste freedom. Not real freedom. Not the kind that belongs to men who walk into a room and bend it to their presence. You can either serve that inner voice forever or execute it and finally claim the life that was stolen from you. Machiavelli never whispered. He commanded. He didn't beg to be understood. He acted and left others scrambling to explain later. He never asked for power. He seized it because he knew those who ask do not deserve. Your transformation begins now with inversion. Every time you feel the urge to shrink, expand. Every time you want to explain yourself, hold silence. Every time you feel like apologizing, look directly into their eyes and stare. Dangerous confidence doesn't appear when you feel ready. It doesn't come with comfort. It is forged only by doing the exact things your inner servant is terrified to attempt. So you start walking faster. You take up more space. You stop nodding at everything. You drop the soft, timid tone. You start speaking as if your words are not suggestions, but final decrees. Confidence isn't a passing thought. It's not something you think about. Confidence is an identity. An identity is not given. It's forged. Forged in rebellion. Not rebellion against the world. Rebellion against the version of you that was taught to serve. So here is your first law. If it makes you small, kill it. If it makes you hesitate, confront it. If it makes you weak, deny it. If it begs to be liked, laugh at it. The world teaches you to be nice, to be polite, to be agreeable. But here's Machiavelli's truth. Nice men are tools. They are used. They are discarded. They are replaced the moment they are no longer useful. Powerful men are not nice. They are precise. They are measured. They are controlled. They are strategic. And it all begins with silencing that weak inner voice, the one still begging for acceptance. You don't need permission. You don't need validation. You need one thing only, the willingness to be feared. Not by others, by yourself. Because the moment the servant inside you dies, the ruler inside awakens. Powerful men rarely need to announce themselves. Their power is felt before they ever speak. It's in their presence. It's in their silence. It's in their stillness. It's in a gaze that unsettles everyone who meets it. You don't need to be known. You don't need to be liked. You only need this. The atmosphere must shift the second you enter the room. That is how a ruler moves. Not because someone told him he had authority, but because he behaves as though he always has. Machiavelli saw this in the courts of princes. The crowned king wasn't always the most powerful. Sometimes the true power was the quiet man in the corner, the one who rarely spoke. But when he did, every head turned, every conversation stopped, and the room bent around his words. Why? Because silence is power. You think constant talking makes you dominant? It doesn't. Talking makes you predictable. The quiet man, the unreadable man, is always the threat. When you walk into a room, you don't search for approval. You don't broadcast eagerness. You stand, you watch, you calculate. Your body speaks long before your mouth does. You move deliberately, not frantic, not rushed. Predators don't run unless they're striking. Until then, they wait. Patient, composed, unshaken. Most men have no idea how desperate they look. They nod too quickly. They speak too fast. They interrupt just to be noticed. Why? Because they still live beneath judgment. They still crave approval. But here's the shift. When you behave like you own the room, your words don't need to impress. They decide. Every sentence becomes a conclusion. Every word feels final. People start listening differently. They don't argue. They don't challenge. They adjust themselves to you. And when others speak, you let them. You let them talk. You let them reveal themselves, their insecurities, their hunger, their desperation. Because the one who talks first almost always exposes themselves first. And once you know their weakness, you can bend them however you wish. Confidence at this level has nothing to do with being liked. It's about becoming the gravity that bends everyone else's orbit, so you carry yourself as if you've already won. Not with arrogance, with certainty, with indifference. If they respect you, good. If they don't, even better. Because indifference to approval is the highest form of strength. If the room wasn't yours when you entered, by the time you leave, they'll remember it as if it always had been. Not because you begged, not because you shouted, but because you didn't have to. Words are not sounds, they are weapons. And yet most men use them like apologies, as if asking for permission to exist. You can spot them instantly. The nervous laugh, the rising tone at the end of every sentence, the endless, I think, maybe, I'm not sure, sorry, but that is not communication. That is self-sabotage. Machiavelli knew, power is not in what you say, it is in how you say it. Speak with certainty, and people stop analyzing. They surrender to your conviction, because people are not logical. They don't follow truth. They follow confidence. If you sound sure, they assume you're right. If you hesitate, they assume you're not worth hearing. So what does a Machiavellian voice sound like? It's slow, it's calm, it's final. Every sentence a decree, not an opinion. Every word delivered as if obedience was already assumed. Even in a room full of experts, if you speak like a decision, they defer. Here's the rule: sound like the end, not the beginning. And don't think respect comes from talking often. In fact, the less you speak, the more weight your words carry. Every filler word, every apology, every disclaimer, it all bleeds authority. Eliminate them. Speak directly, leave it there, and let silence do the work. Because silence after certainty terrifies people. Your tone, not just your words, is the true message. Lower your pitch, slow your tempo, remove nervous energy. Speak as though the outcome has already been decided. This is how rulers speak. This is how generals speak. This is how kings in exile speak before reclaiming their throne. And if challenged, never defend, never justify, never explain. Simply say, that's incorrect, and move forward. Because your reality is not up for debate. Confidence is not about noise. It's about gravity. It's about carrying the assumption that when you speak, the room shifts. You don't try to be right. You speak as if you cannot be wrong. You don't try to be heard. You speak as if silence itself bends around your certainty. And if you cannot speak like this, then don't speak at all. Because confidence without control is decoration. Presence without emotional mastery is fragile. This is where most fail. They build posture, they build voice, but their emotions still belong to everyone else. A slight insult makes them react. A compliment makes them soften. A silence makes them spiral. You will never be free until you win the invisible war inside your mind. Machiavelli knew this. He didn't fear enemies. He feared dependency. He didn't trust affection. He trusted control. Because the moment someone knows how to move you emotionally, you are no longer powerful. You are predictable, and predictable men are disposable. So you stop reacting. You start calculating. Insults, you extract data. Praise, you analyze motives. Silence, you return it twice as cold. This is how you become unreachable. Not numb, but untouchable. You feel everything, but you only act on what serves your outcome. Until no one can move you emotionally, you remain vulnerable. But once you kill that weakness, you become undeniable. And when you are undeniable, they can only do one thing: watch, wonder, and fear what you will do next. Because in the end, the world does not respond to your feelings. It responds to what you project: certainty, control, clarity. And once you embody those fully, you become dangerous. Not because you're violent, not because you're loud, but because you are unreachable. That is the final form of power. That is how legends are made. And from this moment on, you will not chase, you will command. If this message resonated with your spirit, consider sharing it. Someone out there might be carrying the same questions, the same doubts, the same quiet hope, and your sharing might be the reminder they need. Stay true, stay kind, stay you. For more insights on philosophy, personal growth, and the art of clear thinking, subscribe and turn on notifications. Flow through life and embrace the journey of thought with curiosity and insight. Seek truth, seek wisdom, and remember to question everything. Until next time, stay curious.